Hello, and welcome to Writing for the Public. I'm Susan Thistlethwaite, and I'm going to be guiding you through this short online course that'll help you learn how to write for the public. Now, the first question you have to answer is, who are you? And why should anybody read what you write? You have to claim your authority. You're not an expert. Don't worry about that. You have the right to be yourself, and you have the right to an opinion. So if you're writing about oil drilling in Colorado, you live in Colorado, say, I live in this community and I have a right to know how dangerous this is. I often say, just be yourself. I'm a teacher, I'm a community member, I'm a mom, I'm a dad, I'm a grandmom, a granddad, a foster parent. I use pastor, teacher, grandmother, and not all at the same time. I use what seems appropriate for the piece. Now here's number one in terms of formats. This is the truth sandwich, and it was invented by George Lakoff, the very famous author of Don't Think of an Elephant. And I've only put one book in our class, and it is George's book. So what George says is most people are trying to challenge lies in the public square, and there's so much lying. But what they do is they make a mistake. They repeat the lie, then they do the truth, and then they summarize with repeating the lie again. Don't do that. Tell the truth first. And this is very important for letters for the editor, okay? You're going to be challenging something. Say the truth first. Immigrants are the backbone of our society. Then what you're objecting to, immigrants should not be allowed into the country. And then truth again, immigrants are the backbone of our society. So what we end up doing is very good for letter to the editor. You got to claim your authority. I'm the child of immigrants, which is true for me. A simple, do not quote the lie directly, Lakoff says, summarize it, and then repeat the truth. That way we get the truth more out of the public square and less of the repeating of the lies. The second is called the Rhetorical Twinkie. Now, I invented the Rhetorical Twinkie. And you see here on the outside, it's beautiful, little, fluffy, very, very tasty, though incredibly bad for you, outside, and then inside there's the filling. Well, what I did is I invented this sort of by accident. I wrote a piece on Bo Obama, the little puppy that the Obamas got. And everybody was, oh, cute puppy, and so forth. And I wanted to write about marriage equality. Now you'll notice Bo is wearing a rainbow lei. So I wrote a piece for the Washington Post, I called it Bo Knows Grace. And there's a fluffy, feel-good beginning. Cute puppy makes me happy. This is what I wrote, really. And then, but instead of putting in the incredibly bad for you filling, I put in a nutritious filling. Marriage equality makes me happy. And this is LGBTQ Americans wanting to get married like any other member of the society. Advocate that. That makes me happy. And then puppy, puppy, puppy. So what I'm doing is I'm associating happiness with marriage equality. This went viral in an hour. Viral is 100,000 hits picked up by Yahoo. Now let's look at a local example. Pink Veil feels good. And it does. It's such a wonderful event. All women and men need health care. Here's the nutritious filling. And then Pink Veil feels good. Okay? You can put in, I have skied in Pink Veil, etc. Now, it doesn't always have to be fluffy. This is an emotional hook, and it can't be too long. One thing you should know is that well-known films are a cultural vocabulary, and you can draw on them to make points that a lot of people will be able to identify with. This is from the film Good Will Hunting, and I wrote this the night that Robin Williams committed suicide. And I noticed on social media that a lot of people were worried about the ripple effect of this suicide with people who were thinking about suicide. And here in this film, Matt Damon is the young man, Goodwill Hunting, who has been abused. And Robin Williams is the therapist. And Robin Williams says over and over again to Matt Damon, it's not your fault. And Matt Damon, yeah, I know that. But of course, he doesn't know it. So I called the piece, It's Not Your Fault. And I had this emotional hook at the beginning. Then I had resources for people who were depressed or considering suicide. And then I had more about the film. So that's a very serious Twinkie. I got so many letters and emails about this one. People thanking me. It's not your fault. Format number 3, I'm calling the standard. Now this one, also, this is my own slide. I put it together. For what is just a standard on the rock pile, this is how you write a piece. And if you don't want to use one of the more zippy formats that I have recommended, just do this. Snappy headline, always snappy headline. Topic sentence that makes the whole point, because nobody reads anything except the headline and the topic sentence anyway. Then what's your authority? Then here's why I know this is important. Here's why you, the reader, should care. And I always like to give people a to-do instead of a conclusion, like call your representative and advocate for X, or join us at Moms Demand Action on Gun Sense, and actions like that, so that people have something to do after they finish reading. Do not bury a lead, do not bury your lead, do not bury your lead. Of course you'll bury your lead. That's just inevitable. I just published a piece of the Vale Day. Of course I had first, in my first draft, buried the lead. Write a draft, cut out the last paragraph, move it up to the front. You end up writing and writing till you figure out what it is you actually want to say. Then that's what you put in as your lead. Then your other writing supports that point. At most, again, to repeat myself, people read the headline and the first sentence. This is not about you. It's about your readers. So think about this. Who are your readers? And you want to be addressing them. I often use you because marketers will tell you it's the most powerful word that draws people in. It is about one clear topic, clearly stated, related to a current media hook, something that's going around the media, and is well supported. And then you rewrite, and you rewrite, and you rewrite, and you rewrite, and you make it short. Then you promote it. You use Facebook, you use Twitter, you use Instagram. You're trying to create churn. You want to get your piece out in the public square so it contributes to the conversation about this. That's why you're writing. So do that. Do it. If you're not on Twitter, go to yes, there are problems with all this social media. I know that. But you got to do it anyway. Go to twitter.com and sign up. Follow me on Twitter and you'll see what I mean. Twitter activism. So you use the pound as the hashtag, and repeated use creates a meme that is a Twitter feed. So all the people are, pound climate change, right? You just look at that, and people who are writing on climate change, UN issued a report just today when I'm recording this, pound climate change, pound UN report, and you create a conversation. A lot of conversation is called a Twitter bomb. And Twitter, now with Instagram and other photo sources, is a visual medium. And people clicked on Bo Obama the puppy. Now, the Vale Daily just has my face there. This is not as interesting as we might like. So you can also upload a photo. Go to Google Advanced Images. Be sure to pick a photo that's in the public domain, and then pop that in along with the link to your tweet. The link to your piece. Content. Of course, you got to write about something. And you want to use hyperlinks. That's the URL that accompanies the source that you're quoting. Optimally, consult at least two sources for substantiating one point. I learned this from the Washington Post. Don't use both, use the most authoritative. So let's say politician A is being criticized for something he said, and you've got secondary sources saying that person said this awful thing. You need to find an audio link or a YouTube link where you can actually listen to what that person said, because I know you'll find this shocking, but commentators spin slightly what politician A is saying in order to have it fit their argument. So you gotta get to the original source and then use that. Do not use lengthy citations. Summarize the citation and then link to the original. And you want to become known for being totally accurate. That's the brand you want to bring to this. Title, most important. It's what most people will read. My most famous column is Can a Nation Lose Its Soul? And it's about the torture of Iraqis. It's been actually printed in 2 different books. The second best known thing that I've written is Our Great God Gun. It violates all the things that I am telling you here. It's a meditation on Isaiah 58, where God despises those who really worship guns and not God. And it's been reproduced as worship resources in my own United Church of Christ. But these others are pretty straightforward. Betsy DeVos just threw rape survivors under the school bus. Obvious. White supremacy is demonic. I teach religion, so white supremacy, very, very evil. Pound Me Too, that's the hashtag for Me Too. That one also really got a lot of hits, and it was my argument there is not every person who is sexually harassed or assaulted is the same. And so race, religion, sexual orientation, class, all of these things make a difference in how we think about how to stop this epidemic that Me Too is pointing to. Now, this is my personal favorite. This is Sandra Fluke. Sandra Fluke is a Georgetown University student who testified about the need for the Affordable Care Act to cover contraception. And Rush Limbaugh called her a slut for this. And then there was such an outcry about that, and he lost advertisers, that he apologized. And I pretended to have Mary Magdalene lecture him about shaming women, sexually shaming women. And you may know this or you may not, but Mary Magdalene is not a prostitute in the New Testament. There is no verse that refers to Mary Magdalene as a prostitute. It's made up out of whole cloth. And it's a tradition in the Christian church, and it is dead wrong. And this is, I think, and many other scholars do, a result of her having been a resurrection witness, which is a criterion for apostolic authority. And so the church smeared her. But she is not a prostitute. It's not in there. So the title is most important. And, of course, with this Mary Magdalene thing, people clicked on it because it was so peculiar, right? So through the class, what we're going to do is you've now had this video. You're going to pick a template. You're going to write a sample piece. You're going to upload it. I'm going to edit it. And then we're going to have a video conference that will enable us to discuss all of what we've learned from this short course on how to write for the public.